And we're joined now by Republican Maria Rodriguez of Louisville. Of course, we're in Louisville. Maria, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time.
Thank you, Isaiah.
Maria, good to have you with us. We're going to spend about 15 minutes talking to you about the top issues. As you were coming in, you were telling us that you did go to see President Donald Trump in Hebron, Kentucky, in northern Kentucky. You were there in the crowd. You got to meet Susie Wiles, his chief of staff. Tell us where you stand on Donald Trump. Are you a full-in supporter, or do you break with him on immigration and ICE or other issues? Explain your thoughts about the president.
Well, I do fully support the president. It doesn't mean that I agree 100% on few of his ideas, but he is the president and he knows better what he's doing because he have all the information that we probably don't know. So that's my stand on that. I do believe that's something that my grandparents always taught me, and my mom as a political refugee herself and political prisoner in Cuba, that if you cannot see the bad thing, you have, let's say you have Donald Trump, you admire him. If you cannot see one bad thing that he does, because all he does for you in your eyes is correct, you're brainwashed. It doesn't matter which president he is or which part of the aisle you are. You got to be able to recognize the good and the bad on every person.
Maria, let's talk a little bit about why you're here today, right? You are running for Congress, right? You're running for incumbent Morgan McGarvey's seat. You hope to win the primary. You have 3 challengers on the Republican side, and you hope to face McGarvey in November. But your why in all this is quite interesting. This was sort of in the wake of the Venezuela operation from the Trump administration into the new year, and it all sort of came together. Can you describe what you saw and why that motivated you to do this?
Well, one of the main motive, I will say, it's the love for my country. And when I mean with my country, I mean United States of America. I have seen for many years that many Americans do not understand how lucky they are that they live in this country and they have the freedom of this country. And this country, it's the beacon of freedom for the entire world. And having this opportunity that came, after the capture of Nicolas Maduro was like when Don reached out to me and was like, hey, would you be willing to, stand up for your country and run for Congress? I owe that to America because America gave me and my family the freedom that we didn't have in Cuba. Mm-hmm.
There are many candidates now in all kinds of different races saying ICE should be abolished. Let's talk about this a little bit. What was going through your mind when you saw Alex Preddy and Renee Good killed in Minneapolis by ICE and the level of enforcement there? And then you saw the Trump administration roll them out of Minneapolis. Where do you draw the line with that type of enforcement?
I don't look at Alex and Renee as the main focus on ICE. I focus on ICE on the over 2,000 American citizens that have lost their life in the hands of illegal immigrants. I stand on legal immigration. My family waited 11 years to come to America the right way. And it's my family story. Like that's what we have to go through. And we didn't came to America because of the economic situation in Cuba. We came to America because my family was persecuted by the Cuban government because they were Catholics. And because my mom worked with with Osvaldo Payá, one of the activists in Cuba, to have a change in the Constitution. They collected firms through a project that it was called Varela Project. And the project was aiming to have a constitutional change to have democratic elections in Cuba. So that was one of the main reasons why my family was persecuted, and the Cuban dictatorship killed Osvaldo Payá. So our life was in danger. It was not that we came here, escaping the economic situation, escaping because we cannot practice our Catholic faith. It was because also our life was in danger there. And we waited over 11 years. Because I remember when my mom put the papers in through the embassy for the political asylum, I was about 9 years old. And I was 21 when we got here. So it was over 11 years. And I do believe that we should enforce our laws, our immigration laws, but at the same time, we need to create a legal pathway for those who've been here in the country, like the bill that Maria Elvira Salazar, the congresswoman for the state of Florida, she's pushing a bill that actually Donald Trump is supporting that bill. That is the Dignity Act. The Dignity Act proposes that any immigrant that's been in the United States for over 5 years, working, paying taxes with a clean record, they should have the opportunity to, not to citizenship, but to legal status, and give them the dignity to work in the United States and be part of the United States community with the peace of mind. Of course, paying some fines and different legal rules that they have to follow. But that bills will give the immigrant community, not only the Cuban community, because there's a lot of Cubans that came through the borders as well, and since Obama in 2017 took off the law that protected Cubans when they touch American soil. So they are on that category where they have no migration status, as well as many of the other immigrants that come from Latin America. So I'm very proud that President Trump is supporting that. I'm very proud of Maria Elvira for pushing that bill. And I don't stand in legal immigration as a division matter. I stand on legal immigration as restoring trust, because we should remove every person that is a threat to our community and is here illegally.
Maria, let's touch on that for a second, because you are a part of a Cuban-American population that has exploded in Louisville. I believe we're up to over 60,000 now in this city. Is that right?
More than that.
More than that.
We're over 70,000.
That's like the second or third most per capita in the country. And a lot of the Cuban-Americans I've talked to, there is an assumption from some out in the country that immigrants are not for President Trump because of some of his initiatives. But many of the Cuban Americans I've spoken with do very much support him. Why is that? Can you explain? And second, talk to me a little bit about him bringing up Cuba now after the Iran operation.
Absolutely. I think that is a huge misconception, because Hispanics, we grow and we are educated in the Catholic principles, which is pretty much conservative values. And not only Cubans, but Hispanics in general, Mexicans, Guatemalans, like everybody who comes from Latin America, they will differ with President Trump in couple things, like immigration, because it affects them directly. But they will still support the conservative values and keep the government away, because we experience firsthand what happens when the government takes too much power and decide what to do with your life. So that's what we are so inclined to, keep the government away. That's the main issue.
Would you support his intervention in Cuba? Because he brings up Cuba a lot now.
Absolutely.
Take it over.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to some of his other top issues then. Affordability and tariffs. Talk to me about tariffs. You see what it does to Kentucky bourbon. We've seen what's happening with Canada, where we stand now. Do you think tariffs are good? Go all in? Do you think they give the country protection, as the president says? Or are they hurting Americans with much, much higher prices?
I believe tariff it's a really hard topic. I do believe that tariffs should be implemented strategically and not politically. And I believe that the main goal for those tariffs should be to protect the American consumer and make everything affordable for the American people. On the other side, we're famous for bourbon. Bourbon is our main industry here in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I do believe that Congress should be very mindful of our industries and securing our infrastructure and what makes Kentucky, a great state. And we should work around that as well, making sure that that our product, our bourbon, it's accessible everywhere in the world, so everybody can enjoy that. Also, I do believe that tariffs should ensure that we keep a significant, what is the right word for that? That we secure what is the best for our national security, especially when it comes to minerals and some important.
Do you believe it should be used as leverage? Like, do you agree with how the Trump administration has used it as a, hey, if you don't do this, or if you don't stop the flow of fentanyl, for example, this was the initial tariffs of his administration, then we will levy these extra duties. Do you agree with how he's sort of wielded that power in general with the tariffs?
That is a good question. We gotta again, the guy has the most amazing negotiation strategies. He's been a businessman his whole entire life. So I probably can see from different point of view his tariff, but I probably differ in a couple things. But I think that it's a good mindset. And if we get, tariff, we get tariff from all these countries around the world, and their tariffs are significantly higher than ours in that comparison. I think we got to give it a time to work. It's like, is it from the business mindset, as a business owner myself, you cannot expect that something that you implement is going to work right away.
But you like it as a negotiating tactic.
Oh, absolutely.
But as a person who's going to run in a district is running in a district that is mostly Democrat, and say you clear the primary, you're going to run against Congressman Morgan McGarvey, the prices you see out there, I mean, tell me personally, when you go through the supermarket, do you wince at the price of meat? Do you wince at the price of different things that have gone up? I mean, just the basics are really rocketing up there. And that goes to, that's been a spinoff from the tariffs as well.
Well, I believe in that case that inflation plays a really significant role in there. I think the situation that we are right now, it's pretty much the result of the overspending that we experienced during and after COVID. Like the government expended way too much money on that, and that's why I believe that the inflation went skyrocket now on us. I believe that affordability is one of the biggest concerns for the American families. And as a regular person, I was like, I'm not a politician. I am not a silver spoon politician that never had a job in their life. I get to see it every day at the hospital. I get to see it every day as a business owner, making sure that I have a backup plan for my people, because there's not a backup plan for me. I'm their backup plan. And I have to make sure that I put food on my table and on their table, because I'm responsible for everybody that works for me and for them to afford the prices nowadays.
Real quick, I do, obviously, to be fair to the Congressman, Morgan McGarvey, he's going to be well funded in this race. Obviously, as Doug mentioned, the 3rd District has gone blue, right, for many, many years. Is there a specific issue that you believe that you can challenge McGarvey on? How are you going to make a serious competition out of somebody who is the incumbent and who many people know?
He is well-funded, but I believe that money doesn't vote. People do. And I would love to see Kentucky purple. I'm not one of those person that, okay, I want to turn Kentucky red or I want to turn Kentucky blue. I want everybody to have that opportunity to express their belief and live their life without the government telling them what to do. So I want to have that opportunity where I will be representing everybody, not only the far left or the right, the far right. I'm a person who I consider myself like right in the middle. And I do appreciate both, like having both opinions. I'm not like...
This is an interesting district, though. The last Republican to have this district was Ann North.
Almost, 20 years. Almost.
And she famously always would say to us, this is the toughest district in America for a Republican to win. She always thought that. She said, I'm constantly raising money. Then John Yarmouth took over after that. So what's your message to cut through in a district that is so hard to win for a Republican?
Absolutely. I think it's fair to ask, has things gotten better for the people living in Jefferson County or the 3rd District after almost 20 years of a Democratic leadership? That would be a good question. And I think that many families feel left out and that they are not represented by our Congressman Morgan McGarvey. And I would love to give them that opportunity to, see they have other options. And I could be one of those options.
Real quick before we go, do you have a number one policy priority or something you said I would support on day one? A lot of candidates say, here's my top issue. Is there one specifically that you would support from day one?
I do. I support, I would say, supporting capitalism over socialism. Immigration, because I hear both sides speaking about immigration and talking about immigration, but many of those, they've been in Congress and Senate for ages and nothing gets done because nobody cares, because it doesn't make them money. All these politicians make money out of immigration policies and ended up not doing anything. So my goal is to continue to support capitalism because I believe in getting the government out of the way, supporting the small businesses, and freedom for people. And I believe that's the core values of America. Immigration and safety. Partner up with law enforcement to keep our city of Louisville safer and our borders secure.
Maria Rodriguez joining us in studio here. Thank you very much for taking the time.
We should mention that the other candidates in the primary are Donald Pay, Daniel Cobble, and David Nichter. So you do have some competition. All right.
Here we go. May 19th will be the primary. We have many to watch across the state of Kentucky. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Powers That Be. Take care.